Alright, what's going on, guys? It's about time for another Q&A. I actually went back and checked, and the last one I did was in January, so it's been quite some time. As always, I get all of these questions from Twitter, so just follow me on there, and whenever I tweet out, just ask me whatever you want. If I like it, I'll put it in the video. That being said, let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start off nice and wholesome, alright, because we're about to get wild in a minute. So first question, people wanted an update on the children, so let me go handle that.
What's up? They wanted to see you. You an old man like me now. How old are you? Hold on, let me think. I think Apollo is like 2.5. We'll say 2.5. Buddy, look here, buddy. Hi. What's up? Oh, okay, here. What's up? Thank you. Yeah, he 2.5. He's a grown man now. You know, he doing his thing. What's up, dude? Dude, what's up? Oh, don't fall. What's up? You good? What you sniffing? Look up here. Hi. He gonna ignore me because he has his bone. Look at him. Young man, Simba. He don't care about nothing in this world other than that bone, but it's all good. He's being chill. That's all we can ask for with the young man because he's a little crazy. But he's probably over 40 pounds by now. I need to weigh him again. It's been like 2 weeks. But he's almost 6 months old. He got all his real teeth now. You can see them big boys in there. So he going in. I don't know why he's sitting on the bed like that. He's being a little weird. Simba, can you say hi to everyone? Buddy, hi. That's probably all we're going to get out of him. But that's all right.
Alright, now that we got that out the way, next question. Brazzers Premium for life or one night with any porn star of your choice? Okay, so I like this question. Apparently, a lot of people like this question because it got over 100 likes. Now, at first, I kind of felt like this was an easy choice. I still kind of do, but I just wanted to make sure. So I went ahead and calculated the value of a lifetime premium subscription to Brazzers. I was just curious what that was actually worth, right? So I went on the website, and apparently, if you pay the full year up front, it ends up being $10 per month, and you do a one-time payment of $120, so $10 a month. Otherwise, you can do $30 a month, which I don't know who's doing that. That's ridiculous. $30 a month, man? No, nobody's doing that. So, that being said, obviously, we're going to do the one-time payment of $120. Now, let's say, I don't know how many more years I got. You know, I'm already kind of old, but I'd say I got around like 50 years left in my life. You know, that would put me around 75, which is the average life expectancy for a male. So 50 years multiplied by $120 per year, that equals $6,000. So a $6,000 value is what we're talking about here. However, I'm probably not going to be beating my meat when I'm 70 years old. You know what I mean? My shit won't even be working properly at that point. So I feel like those last few years are kind of just wasted as well. I'm not sure, you know, when your meat stops working, but I think somewhere around that time period. You know, obviously, you know, there are solutions to that, I guess. But, you know, I don't know if you're going to be, you know, popping a Viagra to jerk off. That sounds a little bit ridiculous to me. So I would say, you know, we got to take a little bit of the value off of this. So it's probably more like a, I don't know, $5,000 value. So I think you're getting a much better deal with the one night. I think I would have to go with that one. But here comes the hard part, right? Who do you pick, right? There's so many good choices out there. I feel like this is one of those questions where, like, you could ask me right now and you could ask me again in like 2 weeks and I'd have a different answer. It kind of just depends on how I'm feeling at the moment. You know what I mean? It's always changing. There's never really a set answer to this, but currently I would probably have to go with Lana Rhodes. She's got some good quality content out there. She's pretty popular. I'll try to find some appropriate pictures to put up on the screen if you guys aren't familiar with her work, but you probably are. But yeah, I think that's what I would go with at the moment, but obviously it could change. Anyways, do you have high hopes for Modern Warfare, or will it be the final nail in the coffin for COD? Well, first of all, if Infinite Warfare wasn't the final nail in the coffin for COD, I don't think anything could kill COD. That being said, I do have a, I'd say, positive mindset so far towards the game. I'm really trying to stay positive. The beta is coming out this month. That's what we're all waiting for. But at the very least, I can say, you know, at least they haven't done anything yet to really disappoint me. The mini-map would be the only thing, but I will give it a chance, of course. I do think it's something that could ruin the game. It didn't really affect me in the 2v2 because, I mean, the maps are so small. There's only 2 enemies. There's only 1 teammate. It's very different from real multiplayer. You don't really need a mini-map for 2v2, I would say, just because the maps are that small. But in the real game, it'll be a different story. So that is something that could like make me disappointed with the game and really could ruin the game. But we'll have to wait and see when the beta comes out. You know, I think I said this earlier, but once again, like we just got the tip. You know what I mean? You can't judge it off the tip. We got to get a taste of it all. You know what I'm saying? And even the beta, that wouldn't be a true taste, I guess you could say, but you know, we get the majority of it. That'll be a good time to judge the game, and that's probably when I'll make like a real detailed, like true opinion video of the game, because everything so far, like I mean, I've put some criticism out there, put some positives out there, but they really haven't given us enough for me to truly go all out with it. But once I get my hands on the beta, then I will definitely have a lot to say. But I'm hoping for the best, honestly. My plan this year was to, you know, to grind 2K and Call of Duty. Hopefully both of them can keep my attention. I wanted to do some 2K content on the second channel. However, I'm not going to force myself to play the game if it's not something that I enjoy. You know, that's the majority of the reason why you mainly see Modern Warfare remastered gameplay instead of Black Ops 4, because I just prefer that game. So yeah, anyways, we'll see. I'm hoping for the best, man. Next question. How big do you think Giannis's meat is? Okay, let me just clear this up. When I make these jokes on Twitter, like obviously I talk about it a lot. Like, yeah, I'm kind of trolling, but at the same time, I'm actually kind of serious because I'm pretty sure it's like 13 and a half, and I'm not trolling when I say that. I just want to take a look, that's all. You know, no homo. I'm not saying I want to touch it or put it in my mouth or nothing like that. I just want to see, you know, I'm just a little bit interested for education purposes. You know, I'm just curious because, I mean, he might have a world record. He don't even know, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I just think, you know, for science reasons and for the future of humanity, this should be recorded. And, you know, we should all know this information. That's all I'm saying, because I really think it's got to at least be like a foot long, you know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm saying. No homo, nothing like that. I'm just saying, I'm just curious. That's all. Next, I had a couple people asking me about bringing back the Eugene videos. I wouldn't say that they have ever been gone per se. Like, I'm not opposed to making those type of videos, of course. It just kind of worked out that I haven't really found anything to discuss in a while. Like, these days, it kind of has to be like the perfect video in order for me to do something like that, because it's a lot harder with these stupid like rules and guidelines that they've implemented. Like, there's a lot of times I go into a video and I know like it's going to be demonetized right away. Like, I'm not going to make nothing off that video just based off the topic of the video. Like, for example, recently that video of that girl who, you know, spit on her dog and stuff. I pretty much already knew if I included those clips in the video, even the subject matter itself, maybe even if I didn't include the clips, but 100% because I included those clips, there was no way that video was going to stay monetized. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I don't want to make people like pause my video, click a link, go to Twitter, watch that, then come back to my video. Like, I just kind of feel like that ruins the whole video watching experience. So, you know, I just put them in. I was like, it'll be a better video. It's going to get demonetized, whatever. But, you know, shit like that. It doesn't even have to be that bad in order, you know, for me to get in trouble apparently these days. So I just always have that in my mind when I'm looking for video topics and stuff. So, you know, back to the original question. Of course, yes, I'm always on the lookout, but, you know, just keep in mind nowadays, unfortunately, it's not just like as simple as me seeing this and be like, oh hell yeah, I'm about to use that. Like, sometimes I see a lot of stuff, I'm like, you know, that would make a good video, but I think about how I would do it and I'm like, either A, the video would just be shit because I can't speak or make the video the way I want to, or B, it would just be instantly demonetized and I like wasted 8 hours of my day for no reason. And it's just kind of demoralizing. Anyways, that's pretty much the situation on that. It has to be the perfect circumstances. Next, we got the Super Bowl predictions. People ask me this like every single Q&A. Super Bowl predictions, NBA Finals predictions. I'm not going to do NBA on this one because honestly, who knows, man? Literally every contender in the league is has gone through like a major roster change. There's so many different situations that we need to see how these teams play first before we really make any judgments. So I honestly don't know about NBA. Like it really is kind of up in the air this year. So we'll have to see. But as far as for the NFL, I feel like other than the Patriots, the NFL is pretty much always unpredictable. So I'm going to go with the two teams that probably should have been there last year, the Saints and the Chiefs. Obviously, the Saints had probably the worst missed call I've ever seen in my life. Like, that was just inexcusable. Like, I don't know what happened. Honestly, other than it being rigged, I don't really understand how that call was missed. It was just that bad. And then obviously for the Chiefs, if D4 didn't have CTE and could line up properly, the Chiefs would have been in the Super Bowl. So those two teams obviously are right up there again this year. They have a very good chance. Once again, obviously the Patriots, they always find a way. I don't know how else to explain it. But it's so early, so who knows, man. One injury could just change everything. So we'll have to see. But as for right now, I will take those two. Next question, best NBA ass top 5. Okay, I don't have a top 5, and I'd really have to probably spend a lot of time thinking about 5, but I do have some names that come to mind. Number 1, obviously, Kyle Lowry. He's been holding the throne for quite a while now, and I don't really see anyone passing him up anytime soon. However, another name that comes to mind when you say NBA and ass is Dwight Howard, but that's probably for different reasons. As far as an actual challenger to the throne of Kyle Lowry is none other than LeBron himself. He posted this squat video the other day. It was going crazy on social media because, his shit poking, his ass looking pretty good, looking better than a lot of females, if I do say so myself. Just a message to LeBron, if anyone could forward this to him. I noticed you didn't have a spotter there, LeBron, and next time, just feel free to hit me up. I would love to get up right behind you, get some nice spotting action going on. Safety first, all right? I'm just looking out for you. You got a big year coming up of basketball. You're trying to make the finals and everything. Don't want you getting hurt doing some squats. So, let me get up in there, spot you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just offering my help, that's all. But moving on. Final question, thoughts on franchising in Call of Duty. So this has been a pretty big topic in Call of Duty for like the last 6 months, especially like the last 2 weeks or so when it actually has all come together. Let me just say, I don't think it makes that much sense, honestly. First of all, it costs $25 million to get a spot. That is ridiculously overpriced because League of Legends is selling spots for $10 million, and League of Legends is way bigger than COD and probably way bigger than COD will ever be. And yet they are less than half the price as a Call of Duty spot. That doesn't make any sense. But just the concept itself of having these location-based teams just doesn't make a lot of sense for esports because, number one, the players are already established. When you think about regular sports, they establish these locations from the beginning. Now, we've already had esports for plenty of years, and now we're adding in new locations and just assigning people to these locations. There's nothing really tying them together, you know what I mean? But probably the more important reason, I guess, is the majority of the content in esports is online, and when they do have events, it's not based off of the team's location. For example, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan and you live in Dallas, you can actually go watch the Cowboys play in person, and it's not like a big hassle, right? You could just drive 45 minutes, go see them play. But let's say you're a fan of the Dallas Call of Duty team, right? The event might not be held in Dallas. They might have COD Champs or whatever it's going to be called in the future. That's probably going to be held in LA. If you're in Dallas, now you got to fly all the way out to LA to go support your local team. That doesn't make a lot of sense. A lot of people are not going to be interested in doing that. So the location thing doesn't work as well for esports because you don't really get the same sense of having a home team. You don't really have a real connection to the team, in my opinion. I just don't see the point, man. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, at least in the current format. Then again, I'm not that well researched on it. I looked at it a little bit. As far as I can tell from what everyone else is saying, from the pros and stuff who are actually involved, most people seem to think it's a pretty bad idea. I know 100 Thieves is not even getting a Call of Duty team this year because they don't think it's worth it, because like I said, $25 million for COD when League of Legends is 10 million. Those numbers don't add up. Take that 25 million and invest in some real estate or something, and I bet you probably get better returns on that than you get from a Call of Duty team. So anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. As always, I get these questions from Twitter. If you would like to be included in a future Q&A, just follow me on Twitter and ask me your questions whenever I tweet out for them. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day, and peace out.
Never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it